Hello. Welcome
Hello.
to Awake and Lippy, episode number 3. So we're just a couple of minutes late because we were just sorting out the tech and things. So welcome back if you're joining us again, and welcome if you're joining us on the replay. And in case you don't know who we are, I am Marie Fleming Grant, and this is my page, Awake Revolution, and you can find out more on my website, theawakerevolution.com. And this is my husband, MP Grant. And we're doing a slightly different show. So if you've tuned into the last couple of shows, we've had a bit of a format where I've done an introduction, we've had a guest on, and then we've had a chat, kind of quite a lengthy chat, and we've had
a beer.
We had beer last time, and we've had just a chit chat about current events, and we've explored all sorts of different topics. So today's show is going to be slightly different, where this is why you're here with me now. So I'm going to be doing some live channeling. Take cover. We've got some amazing questions I was asking on my profile and via my Telegram channel for people to share any questions they've got right now about current events, concerns, any areas of struggle, because there's so much going on, right? So I've pulled together, I've sort of merged some of the questions because we're just looking at questions that will benefit everybody rather than your own individual circumstance. But we're going to get into some of the channeling. So so I'm excited, a little bit apprehensive, right? I've never done this in this way on my public page. So Michael's going to ask the questions, and then I can just be in channel and I can just directly answer the questions. So that's the plan.
Well, this is just to remind you, it's live, and these are more or less direct questions, but you're going to get direct answers. And it's imagine living with someone that can do this. They're one of the very, very few who can do this direct with the High Council, the High Arcturian Council. So it's freaky, really. Yeah,
and it's for those of you, hi Wisteria, thanks for tuning in. For those of you who are, and you're watching the replay as well, for those of you who are new to channeling, and and I'm appreciating that can be really quite strange, and even especially people who might know me for a while, and suddenly I'm doing this channeling. Just the way it is, really, it is channeling. Yes, it's channeling higher dimensional realms. These are higher dimensional beings. The Arcturian High Council, and they just have so much love for humanity. They are among the star beings who are here to very much help with this shift. So they're not the only ones.
And
this shit going on, and there are many other types of beings as well. The Arcturian High Council are the ones that I channel and that we are connected with in different ways. So these are the beings that we will be communicating with, and what they do is it's so powerful, because this is why it's helpful for you to ask the questions, because I can interpret as well, but what they would wish to do today is go direct. So what you're going to hear is going to be like, I'm going to be talking as if I'm them. I know that sounds really strange. You'll get the feel of it as we go through, and it does sound strange.
It works.
It does work, and it feels so. And just on that note, before we get going, I just want to share, these are perspectives. So we are not here, neither of us and the Arcturians, we're not here to persuade or convince you or push any perspectives on you. So this is an invitation for you to really open your mind and expand, and just see how these messages and this information feels to you, because you are the best judge of what feels resonant with you. And I think it's worth saying, right, in the current times, we have so much bullshit information being fed. It is very important for you to be able to tune in to really follow your own guidance on this. So if there's anything that I share today, I don't even know what's going to kind of come out. If it doesn't resonate with you, you absolutely, that is okay. So tune out or continue to watch and just take the bits that do. All right. So it's really important. I feel I just wanted to say that. And the way I see it is really, it's just like, and it might seem weird at the start, I'm tuning into a frequency. So it's really just like how you get your how we used to get our radios, and just tune into the frequency. And then when you tune into a certain frequency, you hear a certain radio station, right? That's what channeling is.
Of the highest consciousness that is around. It's shall we say, the best on the market. It truly is, more than, maybe I shouldn't say it that way, but it really is the absolute best.
It's a high consciousness. So as we're going through, so we've got about 10 kind of areas we're going to really great. These questions, by the way, are real serious issues about what's going on in the world. So we're going to go through, you're going to ask me the questions. I'm just going to channel the information, and I invite you please to just, any comments, keep them coming. Any questions that you have, keep them coming, because once I've gone through those, we're quite happy to.
What I'd say is the more you put into this, the more you may well get out of it. Just take it seriously.
True.
Marie's trajectory on this is going to, we already know, is going to be absolutely worldwide. Absolutely. Even there is no justice I can give to just how far Marie is going to go with this, and other stuff and books and so on. But what I would say is make the most of this right now, this availability, please, for yourselves.
Just receive. Yeah. So let's get cracking, because there's a lot of information to get through. Right. And as I said, keep your comments coming through. Feel free to comment anything that comes up for you as we're going through, and we'll just see what comes through. I'm trying not falling off my chair.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Go for it.
So the first question is, at what point do people wake up and actually stand up to the tyranny that we have
I like that question. Okay. Just tune in. So greetings, dear ones. We are delighted to be communicating with you in this direct manner. And first of all, we just wish to share with you that our intention is to provide you with higher dimensional perspectives. We understand that being on this planet right now is a very difficult and challenging thing. And so first of all, we wish to commend your bravery for being here. There is much discomfort occurring for many of you right now, and so our intention is to help as far as possible to alleviate some of that discomfort, to provide you with some perspectives, and to help comfort, reassure you wherever needed. And we are most delighted to be here and having the opportunity to communicate with you, and we thank you for opening your minds to this, even though we know that for many of you this will be different. This will be a different experience. And so we just invite you to simply relax and receive the information, and not to try and force or push yourself to go further than you are ready for. Okay, so in terms of when will people stand up, we wish to remind you that this is already occurring on the planet. What you are witnessing and moving through is the rising up. This is a phrase that humanity is becoming more familiar with. There are people rising up and taking a stand against the agendas that have been in place on your planet for a very long time. So we understand that depending on where you are located and what you are tuning into, it may feel as though nothing is changing and that people are moving around with their eyes closed and they are allowing these things to unfold. But we are happy to share with you from this higher perspective that we can see much change happening on the planet right now. And you are witnessing this and moving through a huge evolution. And so people are already standing up, and what you will find as you move through, that this will happen more and more, and you will start to really be able to see it more visibly in your areas. So it is happening, but it may be more visible to some of you than to others. Okay. Kind of answers that.
Okay.
Yep.
So, all right. With some people awake and some asleep, is there any point trying to wake up those that refuse to take the red pill?
Okay. Yes, so there was an energy on the planet very much of waking people up, and this was very necessary in order to begin this shift occurring on your planet. And what you are now moving through, and of course this will differ from place to place, you are now moving through this energy, and it is less about waking people up and more about stepping into your own higher consciousness, your own higher frequencies. Many of you are feeling very depleted, and we understand this. You are feeling depleted from the constant sharing of information and taking the burdens and responsibilities on your own shoulders. to wake people up and to make your loved ones see what you see. And of course, this is a very natural human reaction. And so this is okay. What we wish to share with you is a higher perspective to help lift you out of the burdens that many of you are carrying at this time. Okay, I'm just saying, just hold on a second. Then just give me a second because it's like a lot of information. Okay. Yes, so the forceful push through energy right now is not serving you. So we recommend to you that if you are holding this, to see if you can release some of this, not to say that you have to turn away and not share information, but particularly when you are finding yourself sharing information to those people in your life that are perhaps not open to this, those people that see the world through a very different lens. Humanity is going through a shift and a splitting off of sorts. So what this is meaning is that there is a bigger gap between those people who are choosing to plug into the lower consciousness programs and the other people that are choosing to break free from those. So we recommend strongly that you put down the burden if you can and focus more on connecting with like-minded people. This will give you much inner strength and resilience. It will remind you that you are not alone, and to focus more on your own development, your own choices, and your own everyday actions. Okay.
Okay.
Good advice.
Third one.
Yeah.
How do we keep the faith when it feels like the grip is about to tighten even harder this autumn?
Okay, yeah, I like that question.
You want some water?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. It's thirsty work. So how do we keep the faith? Yeah, when was it?
When it feels like the grip is about to tighten even harder this autumn.
Yes, so we wish to speak of some of what's to come so as to prepare you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. So yes, again, we speak of this in a general sense, as many of you in different countries will be experiencing slightly different movements. There will be some difficult times to come through what they're calling autumn. They're saying it as they're aware that in the UK we call it autumn, but it's the fall for some of you. Through the autumn and winter months. This is a deliberate plan. So this is very much, if you take a step back and understand that this is a strategic plan that is in place, one that is not for the benefit of humanity. And so the understanding can often help you step back, take a breath, and to see with a new lens. The way through it is to, yes, hold the faith and hold steady. But whilst we share this with you, we also wish to touch on the very real human emotion that many of you are going to experience. And we do not wish to dismiss this or make light of this. We share these perspectives from a higher dimensional plane. And we are also very much aware of what it is to be on the human plane. And so the way that we would encourage you to move forwards is to do almost, they're saying, two paths at once. So it's to do things to help you keep the faith and to stay connected to things that are of a higher vibrational nature, and to tune out of the narratives, the fear programmings, all of the things that are designed to keep you locked in those programs. And at the same time, to really allow yourselves to move through those difficult times with a gentle heart and much compassion for yourself and your fellow man.
Simple.
We share this because it is essential as part of the ascension process, is to allow yourself to move through this with your emotions. There is no way really for you to move around this. It is a very human experience. So no matter how aware and in tune you are, you will also be feeling the emotional responses to this. And so we just wish to give you that reassurance and guidance that it is okay to have the days when you feel disheartened, in pain, in suffering, perhaps grieving. Many of you will be grieving losses.
Just remember that.
There will be a difficult time to move through. So keeping the faith is important. And again, just to tune into those things that feed your heart, mind, body, and soul. And for many of you, that will require you to be fairly disciplined in you switching off even from social media platforms and other channels, so you can refuel and restore yourself. That will be most important. Yeah. Okay. That's good. It's good advice. Whew. Yeah.
That one needed to be replayed for you guys. You need to replay it if you can.
Yeah. So I think some of these will be really good to. I'm gonna watch the replays.
I know of a lot of people who. Yeah. I got that. No, you haven't. You haven't got the bereavement. You don't know who's going to die around you. You don't have it. You need to really take it on board over and over to be ready for it.
They're providing reassurance to say it's not to scare people. It is everybody in their own time, right? Everybody's going to take these messages to the level.
The better, yeah.
They're going to take these messages to the level that you're able to take them. So that's going to be different, I think, for various people. Okay. But I think we all know what we're saying. It's going to be difficult. So. I think people tuning into this, I believe they're going to know what we're talking about. It's going to be a difficult time. So it's really just preparing yourself, right? Yeah.
So this is how to stop being in action and reaction and not enter the game that's going on and still move freely around the world.
Okay. So yes, this is very much, again, they're using an inside job as a phrase. It's funny when they use the earthly phrase. Yes, so it is a couple of things. So to very much, as we said, to focus on your innermost strength, your mindset, your focus, and make that the priority. And in terms of moving around freely around the world, again, this will very much depend on where you are, because each country is having different processes and different amounts of restriction. Each country vibrates at a very different frequency. So this is important to say that the freedom very much comes from within you. And we understand as we speak these words that is a very challenging concept for some of you, when many of you are wanting very concrete answers around how to navigate this. And what we would share with you on this is that when restrictions come in, this is an opportunity for humanity to start to shift into different ways of being. And so every restriction will give way to a new creation of some sorts. So
resourcefulness.
One of the ways to navigate through this is to, instead of focusing on the restriction, is to step back, understand that this is coming up for it to be seen and exposed for what it is. And in doing so, it allows humanity to create their response, and not in a reactive way, but more in a creative, higher vibrational way. This has already been happening on the planet around restrictions, because in every area there has been a restriction. There have been groups of people who have found their ways around navigating that. So we speak already of the masks and the jabs and various measures that have been brought in, and you've already seen people move freely around these restrictions. So this will continue. But yes, it is not to focus on that. We always suggest that you focus on your own inner strength on this. The more freedom you can create for yourself within, the easier this is going to be to navigate. And some of you, this is where some of you are finding most challenge, because you have not fully trusted yourself in that regard yet. So as you move through this, some people will almost be forced to go within, which is what happens when there is great restriction. But through that, you will then be tapping into your own divine power, and this has a huge benefit for humanity. So whatever the restrictions are, there are always so many more benefits coming through. Some of them you cannot see yet, and this is why we wish to bring these to your attention, so that you can rest assured that there are great changes ahead and you are moving into these. Okay. Yeah. So let me know as you're watching if these are resonating, how these are resonating, if these are feeling, if these make sense to you. I'd like to hear. Yeah, go on.
Okay. So how to stop all the unwanted things from happening? For example, staying connected if the internet goes down, protecting our homes, falling victim to things rolling out.
Okay. Is that it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. This is where there are two levels. There are two layers. One is the collective consciousness of what you are creating as a whole, and the other is your own individual consciousnesses that are creating your own individual experience. Okay, so first we will speak of the collective. In terms of the collective, what you are doing is everything that you are putting out vibrationally is kind of, they're saying, merging together, and it's creating the consciousness of the entire planet, the whole of humanity. And this is why each individual person is connected to each other person, and we are all creating the experience that we're having. So that is one aspect, and this is why currently there are many things happening that are unwanted, because this is a result of the collective consciousness that has been almost, they're showing me like a snowball that's sort of been building for a long time on this planet. So what's happening now is we are seeing the emergence of these programs and things that we do not like, and it's simply like it's coming from all the past, all the consciousnesses, all the energies that have been building. So there are some elements that we cannot stop, but they're saying this is a build up. So as they're building up, you're seeing them, you're witnessing them, and it is just a question of observing them and allowing them to move through the consciousness. That is just one aspect. On the individual consciousness, you very much have choices every single day as to which timelines you are choosing for yourselves and what realities you are creating. So on the same road, you could have two families who live side by side in the same street in separate houses, having very different realities. One family could be plugged into the fear and the terror, and they could be taking actions that help them continue to be enslaved. And you could have another family who live next door who are living a very high vibrational frequency, and they are free and they are sovereign and they are tapped into their power. So it is very much about tuning in to your own path and focusing on what it is that you do want. And we know that that is challenging, but this is where you get to practice this on a daily basis.
Again, that's another one I believe people need to replay and reinstall or you know.
Yeah.
So you want some more water?
I will have a little sip. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
So children's safety, you've written that's well.
Yeah.
The apostrophe after the S.
Yeah, because there were a lot of there were a few questions, because on these I just pulled together, but there were a few questions all saying the same thing. So it's
children's safety around the jab. Yeah. It's so concerning. I wish it could be stripped. What's that word?
Stopped.
Could be stopped. I beg your pardon. But there are so many who already want this for their children. So I'll say it again.
Yeah.
So children's safety around the job, around the jab, rather, it's so concerning. I wish it could be stopped, but there are so many who already want this for their children.
Okay. So yes, there is much fear currently with many of you around the safety of the children. Yes, and we wish to speak on this to really assist in understanding. So what is rolling out currently is very much being directed towards the children on this planet. And so in the same way as adults are on different paths, so are children. Children are very much of a higher consciousness, a spiritual being in a human form as adults are. And we wish to start with that just to remind you, because very often on the planet, children are seen as powerless and smaller than they really are. And whilst it is very important to protect children, we wish to remind you of the strength that many of your children have. That makes me feel quite emotional, actually. Many of your children are of a higher consciousness, and they are here to assist with the shift just as much as adults are. So what you will find is there will be a split between those families where they of course have children and they are plugged into certain agendas, and so there will be those families who will choose those lower vibrational choices, and this will of course include their children. We wish to remind you, and this is a very challenging part of the human experience, so we are wanting to simply share the higher perspective on this, is that every soul on this planet in current times, every soul is making their own divine soul choice. And so even though when souls are making choices that you would not agree with, and you would feel that this is against their humanity, against their sovereignty, we wish to remind you that a soul choice has many layers, many aspects, and many reasons behind it. We remind you that souls who are incarnated do so off the back of many, many previous incarnations. And so a soul has karmic patterns, they have growth, they have choices that they have already set up on a soul level to move through and experience. There are also souls choosing to take action in order to help humanity. So we will use the example. They're saying that they gave me earlier, because they actually gave this to me earlier. We use the example of those souls who have opted to take certain medical interventions, and they will be exiting the planet. Some of these souls are doing so to assist humanity in bringing this agenda to light. So this is why to criticize your fellow man in their choices is not the highest vibration, because there are so many reasons as to why a soul will be choosing what they choose. And we understand, as we're saying this, that not all of you will be ready to accept this perspective. Some of you will find that very challenging, and this is okay. We're simply sharing a perspective, and you do not have to take this on in your understanding. The children are the same, so you will find that there will be some children who are in those families, yes, that are making those choices, which will be extremely difficult for others to witness and to move through. And this is why we spoke before of the grieving and the gentleness and the need to move through this step by step with much gentleness and kindness for yourselves. But we also wish to turn your attention to the huge number of children on this planet who are of a very, very high consciousness. And many of you are not seeing this. And so we wish to remind you that there are many star seeds incarnated in current form who are adults at this time, and many of them are children. And many of the young children, even being born right now, are here to assist in the new earth. And this is an entirely new generation who do not carry the wounds and the baggage that many other souls have carried. And so these young souls are some of the strongest, bravest souls on the planet at this time, and they will be the leaders of the future. They will be here to usher in, getting little goosebumps there, ushering in the new earth energies. They will be here to help with the high innovations, the technologies, the medical discoveries, the unearthing of the ancient wisdom. Many of these children on your planet already hold the DNA. They already are activated. And so this is to really start to see your children as the empowered, higher consciousness beings that they truly are. And they have much to teach many adult humans. And so we just share this with you, that all is not lost, and that there will be difficult times, but there will also be the most beautiful, miraculous new earth energies, and your children very much play a part in this. And so we just wish to share that with you, to hold that perspective. But yes, it is a difficult time, and it is one to honor and not to downplay. And this is a subject that we would be happy to return to as we move through the next few months. Okay, good, because I think that's a big one. That's a huge one. I felt very teary there.
Yeah.
Like, that's the concern for all of us, right? Whether you have like younger children, older children, or you don't have children, but you know, you're an adult, you know children, right? We all feel this.
Yeah, we think we know the
Every
children, but obviously we don't. We haven't got a clue.
Yeah.
Not really. Certainly not to this level, anyway.
Yeah, we just see the messages. So Wisteria, you're doing great, Marie. Thank you. And the messages are making sense for me. Just to let you know that someone's receiving the information well. Keep up the great work. Thank you. That means a lot. That's nice to have that just support there. Thank you, Wisteria. Goosebumps here as well. Yeah, you can really feel the truths there are. Beautiful, Marie. Thank you. Very emotional too. Yeah, I could cry at the moment. Actually, I'll just take a minute because I feel very because it's like the pain and the beautifulness all at once, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like
True.
It's all happening at once, and while they're very empowering messages, it's still very sad. But there's so much to look forward to as well. So it's very mixed. Very mixed, isn't it? Yeah, I hope that helped anyway. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're on 7 now, I think.
Yeah.
So what will happen with the divide in communities and families? Those who don't conform, where will they go? Will there be two separate societies?
Interesting question. Okay, so those, what's going to happen in communities? Will they, those that don't conform, okay. Okay, so this is the separation. There is a separation already occurring, and many of you are witnessing this in your own communities, in your own families, where you are already almost living a very, almost like living on different planets, I'm saying. So what is happening is that it's not necessarily that those who don't conform will go off into different communities and be completely separated. Some of you may choose to do that, and there will be communities that will be the case. In other, again, depending on parts of the world that you're in other parts of the world, it will be almost, as we talked about before, that it's like you're living on the same street but in different planets, different houses. So it is really about what you're tuning into, and there will be the further along this path you will travel, the more the divide will happen. And you are already feeling this. You are already very aware, each and every one of you, as to who you are moving away from, those people that you have entirely separated from, and those people that you are now perhaps moving towards. It could even be online connections more than in person for many of you right now. So there will be many new creations, because what will happen is, on this trajectory where you are splitting off and there are people who are not conforming, those of you who do not will be almost, you'll have no choice but to start creating things. You'll start creating things in response to the loss of certain structures and systems, things that you no longer wish to tune into. So we ask that you trust this process. And this is difficult, as the human mind will always want to know the steps, how it's going to happen, what it will look like. And there is faith required here in order to trust the unfolding of this. There is no one trajectory, and there are many timelines constantly shifting and moving by the hour on your planet. So there are constant evolutions. So there is no one track that humanity is on, although we can say that the shift does happen. The ascension has happened already. Past, present, and future exists all at once. And so there are certain things that we can say to you that have already occurred. So this is delightful news to be able to directly share to you that the ascension and humanity has happened. It has succeeded. So what you are now doing is moving through the trajectory, and there are many different ways to reach that end point. And this will be a process. So this will depend on the collective consciousness, but there are many, many different opportunities, different paths, and different ways to navigate this and to create your communities. What you will witness is a breaking down of everything that you have known. And so there will be much chaos, there will be much confusion. But if you understand that this is all part of the ascension process, you can relax a little bit more into the process. And it is okay if there are days that you do not. But this is where the important thing is to focus on the creations and focusing on what you do wish to bring into your lives. So if you are saying no to certain, we'll call them offerings to you here on the planet, you are saying no to those offerings. What you are then doing is saying yes to freedom and to sovereignty and to your divinity. And so when you keep saying yes to these things, doors will open, creations will arise, and humanity is very powerful when it has to create things from this place. So you may be underestimating right now the power that each and every one of you hold individually and collectively to create huge planetary shift. That's a pretty powerful one. Yeah, so Wisteria absolutely says, I'm drawn towards some new people online, and I no longer am as integrated with the people who were in my life previously, and I'm totally okay with that. Yeah, that's exactly it.
I just want to say that Marie and I met online.
Yeah.
We met on Facebook. I just want to say.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry, one more. Hi, Izzy. Hi, Marie. Thank you so much for sharing this. It's very emotional and comforting to know every one of us and children have a role to play. Yeah, I thank you for saying that. Yeah, because the children, they have a role here. They're actually really incredibly important. So let's...
More than us in some ways.
Yeah, because they are going to be the future, right? They're going to be there when we're not. So they are very important, and we're going to put them up more in a strong position now in our minds, right?
There was we were walking in the park one day, and there was a little boy who got our attention. Something about his eyes. He was wearing these cute little glasses, but it was something I noticed it, and we both noticed it. And as we were passing him around the park, you want to finish the last bit?
Oh yeah, what he said to me, that one. There was a couple of, he suddenly walked past and he looked at me like complete recognition, and he says, Mummy, like total mama, total recognition. And for some reason I felt really I could have like just hugged him right there and then. Felt really emotional, didn't I?
Yes.
And then and he was just staring, and we.
Yeah, he just absolutely was locked on to Marie.
Yeah, it was
locked on to
I
her.
really felt him, and I was like, wow. And then later that night, we had to take a moment. We sat in the park, didn't we? We really felt it. And then that night, I tuned in and I said, what was that? That felt significant. And they said, yes, he recognizes you from where you have incarnated from before. So because I'm an Arcturian starseed, it's the
What
Arcturus.
she's not telling you is that Marie is Arcturian royalty, and of the higher council, and also the angelic realm as well, extremely high. So this little kid recognized Marie as like a mother figure, a matriarch figure, and he went from being thinking about all sorts of things and to absolutely being stuck in that moment.
It was so beautiful, and it was such a heart-based connection. And then they said, so when we say like the royal Arcturian lineage, it's not like the royal bullshit on this planet. It's not hierarchy or anything. It's just a recognition of a higher consciousness. So what they said was he recognized me, and he didn't have another name apart from mama, he didn't have a word for anything. So he just called that to me. It was so sweet. And it was like little Arcturian starseed that he was, right, walking around the park. So we're all over the place, starseeds. Many of you are starseeds watching.
And don't even know.
Don't know.
Although you may well have always felt stuff,
yeah,
you know, in the melee of absolutely disposable bullshit that goes on in every social little chapter, nook and cranny as you've grown up all these years. But you can get to it and go bang, yeah, I know, I saw that, I felt that, and so on.
And we've had a massive starseed awakening over the last year. It's going to keep continuing, and it's beautiful. So yeah, children are powerful. They are here on missions, many of them. Okay, good to know.
Okay, so this is number 8, and then there are 2 to go after that. So, jabs or no jabs, how will things run, and what's going to happen?
Oh, jabs or jobs, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, jobs are big. Oh, jobs
sorry,
or
it's
jabs.
My writing there. So what's the last bit? Jabs or
jobs or jabs, how will things run, and what's going to happen?
Oh yeah, it's a huge one. Okay, so jobs or jabs, how will things run, what's going to happen? Okay, so yeah, what is occurring right now is the program that the program that has been running, the agenda that's against humanity, is really starting to show itself. It is starting to bubble up into the consciousness, where before many people were able to turn away and not quite see it and dismiss it. It is now happening in the mainstream. So this jobs and for jabs issue is coming up really into the light for each and every person to see it for what it is. And so when it comes up to the light, you are all being required to make choices, make very important choices and decisions in each and every one of your lives. And this is affecting many, because unless you are in self-employment or you're creating your own income, which many of you are, majority are not. And so the issue around jobs and jabs is a huge one, but we see it as an extremely positive movement. The reason we say this is because it is now bringing it to light, and it is making allowing people to make their choice. And what you will now see is that people are either being pushed into submitting into something that they are okay to take. So there's several things. So there will be people that will say yes to this because they are happy to go along with things for convenient reasons, and those are their own soul choices, ones that you do not have to understand. There is always more to it. And there are those that will give into it, but do so very, very reluctantly, because they do not wish to do that, but they are giving into the pressure of that. And then there are those who will be taking a stand and saying no, and choosing making their own sovereign choices. So this is exactly as every other area, only this one is affecting many of you. So in terms of this, there is likely to be, on this trajectory, a lot of chaos around this for a while, as people are starting to make decisions, information is coming to light, and so you will find that this will impact some services and of course companies and various structures that will be reshuffling in their teams and their employees, because there'll be much movement now around this issue. This is a difficult transition period, of course, because it affects so many of you. But yes, this is what we are seeing, and there really is no way around this. It was always going to lead to this. And again, humanity is being called to make their decisions each and every time. So this is one of those programs unfolding. And so it is important for you to really tune in and make the decision based on what is right for you in your own life, in terms of mind, heart, body, and soul. We wish to speak to those of you who, there are those people who will be so much in the fear program that they will not really have a choice. They will be agreeing to those measures, and really we are not so much sharing this message to those people. They are unlikely to be tuning into such a message, but many of you, we just wish to share this message for those of you who need to receive this. If you are weighing up a decision and you are not sure what to do for the best, we encourage you to switch off from the outside and to tune into your own knowingness, into your own soul's guidance. And really, it will take courage to learn how to follow that. So we recommend that you do not pay attention to how, you do not pay attention to what will happen if you do not comply. Because once you make a decision that is in alignment with your soul, things will move. You will be divinely supported. And we wish to remind each and every one of you that even if you do not know this, you have your own soul's guidance. You have your teams around you. Each and every one of you has guidance. And so all you need to do is make the decision for your own health and your own sovereignty, and doors will open for you. That is all you ever need to do. Often humans get caught in the how. The how will stop them from making soul aligned choices, and the how will prevent them from moving away from the fear. And so we encourage you, each and every one of you listening, to we activate your courage now. We will help you right now in this moment to activate in your energy fields in this moment, as you listen to these words that contain light codes, to activate your courage right now, to allow your souls to expand, to allow yourselves to tap into your true soul alignment and to follow that, to allow yourselves to hear the callings of your soul and your soul teams around you, and to have a trusting approach and attitude to all that will follow, because you are divinely supported more than you know, and we wish to help activate this remembrance in you. And thank you for receiving that.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
You have another glass of sip of water, rather.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Penultimate question. Will we be okay? How long will it all take? How bad will it get before it gets better?
Good
Question
okay.
many will be asking.
Yeah. So what's the first one?
Will we be okay?
Yes, you will. On a humanity level, all is well, because the ascension is taking place, and this is inevitable. There is so much momentum now behind what has been occurring on this planet. It cannot be reversed. So you are on track, you are on the trajectory for higher energies, higher frequencies, and the creation of new earth. So all is well. And we just wish to add here, even for those souls who have exited the planet, and there will be many, even for those souls, all is well. And we will wish to come back and share more messages on that on another time. But all is well, everything is well. So even those who exit, it is not the end. It is simply a transition. No soul comes to an end. This is a truth that has been deeply, deeply hidden, and you've been distracted away from this very basic universal knowledge. Souls continue. So all is well, and everybody will be okay on this in one way or another. What's the next bit?
I'll just say that anyone who goes under regression hypnosis, they will realize, if it's done well, they will realize that they have had potentially many other lives, some even 1,000 lives or more even, again. And they may be attracted for whatever reason, or lured for very good reasons, healing reasons or processing or whatever it is, to one or two of them or whatever it is. I've had that experience, I think about 13, 14 times, and 3 of my death experiences and whatever. And I know intimately what I was in the Second World War. I know what there were 4 things I did, beginning from being a pilot, and going to the SOE and all of this stuff. I did a couple of other things as well. But it is, I mean, I don't want to put you off, because I believe that everybody should at some point be involved in it. There are, for examples, various coincidences in some of these life lines, or these what's the term?
Incarnations.
Of which, by the way, I believe 57 countries in the world firmly believe in reincarnation. Just to give you the heads up
That's like mainstream.
We're a tiny little island who just about speak one language. Most other languages speak several. We're ahead of the game, and they believe in reincarnation. But it's just a little point. We have had many, many lives, and you might be surprised at what you were and what you did.
Yeah, and just to make that it's important to understand that, because it's so, once you understand that, you have such a different perspective. Not to say you're not gonna, I have those perspectives. I'm still probably going to find, various processes that we're moving through difficult. I got teary 20 minutes ago, right? But it's just understanding those perspectives really, really help. They really do, and they're the truth. And it's now a time of we're all now starting to really tap into this more and more, and it's going to be for our benefit. Really, really good.
Yes.
There's a little next part to that question.
Really?
Yeah, it was like,
how bad will it get before it gets better?
Oh, how long? Yeah, how long?
How long will it take?
And how bad? Yeah, so how long will it take, and how bad will it get before it gets better? Okay. Yes, so humans are very concerned around the time frames for many things, and so it is very difficult to determine the length of this process, because there are constant unfoldings of different trajectories, different timelines, different choices, and plans having to shift and change according to what is occurring. And so we would move away from anything that you are tuning into that promises certain timeframes, that sets very specific dates, because some of those may come to pass, but many of them often don't. And this does not mean that it is not on the trajectory, but it simply throws confusion into the mix for many people. So it is difficult to say how long will it take. So really it is a question of understanding that you are moving through this as a process, and there will be a time when humanity has moved through this and it is more stable and it is more secure, and you have more of your systems and structures planted and foundations set. But it is a messy process, and once you understand this, you can move through this a lot more easily. And the last how bad will it
how bad will it get before it gets better?
Yes, so again, it is a mixed experience. So as we've already touched on, there will be a lot of loss on the planet, and we share this simply as a way to prepare yourselves. When you can remove the shock of things, it is easier on the body and the system to be able to move through. So we share this with you to simply help you prepare. And many of you are already aware of this. Many of you are already tuned into this probability. And so we wish to really confirm this for you so that you may continue to trust what you already know. You are not imagining certain things or making these things up in your heads. Many of you are very in tune, and you can feel in your bodies, you can feel in your systems that there are certain things moving in. So we will share with you, yes, that the trajectory now with people's choices in the, I'm just being aware of the words that we're using in the medical interventions and the choices that they have taken into their bodies. This will have set up a lot of people to, yes, exit the planet. So there will be a time when it feels very, very chaotic and very confusing. It will be confusing on the planet really because of the differences in the reasons behind so many people becoming unwell or leaving the planet. There will be much confusion around the official stories. So you will be provided with official stories of what is happening through the narratives that are running on the mainstream channels. You will also have your own knowledge of what this really is and why this is occurring. You will have different stories around variants and people who have chosen to take it, people who haven't chosen to take it, certain members of the population passing it to other members of the population. There will be multiple narratives moving around. So this in itself will cause a lot of confusion for many of the souls who still are yet to decipher what is true for them. And so we just offer this to you as a means of you understanding and knowing what to expect as you move through. So it is not that it is getting worse before it gets better, although that's what it will feel like for many on the planet, but it is more that there is confusion and chaos that has to arise first. This is as a result of everything that's come before, and once you move through that, things will start to settle, but this is a difficult process. So this is why it is just taking things slowly and really focusing on your own lives and your own well-being, and making sure that you are nourishing yourselves on every level as much as you can. Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent.
Is that the last one, or was there another one?
The last one is as follows.
Okay.
I used to hate that at school, primary school.
Which?
The following question, or the question is as follows. I just hated it. I didn't like it. It was sanctimonious or something.
As follows. That's very in the legal world. That's that kind of talk.
Anyway.
Okay.
Jobs in the new world. Wow. What if we've spent years on a career that becomes obsolete?
It's a big one. Okay, jobs in the new world. So with the saying destruction, but not in a scary way, they're saying the positive destruction of the old systems and the old ways of beings. This is going to give way to a very new way of living, being, creating, existing. So much of your known structures, which is most of what you know on this planet, your government structures, your financial, your healthcare systems, your educational systems, your food production systems, every single system that you have will be shifted and changed. So whilst it may look as if some of the jobs have become obsolete and outdated and no longer required, in actual fact, what is happening is it is giving way to very new ways of living and being. And so there will be very new opportunities that come through. And so we ask you to release any worries around being locked into one profession, one job, one industry, because you are much more multifaceted than that. And we speak to you even if you have had the same job for 40 years. You are a divine being who is here for many, many reasons. And every one of you tuning into this message, whenever you do, is no exception. And so we wish to release that burden from you, and it will require an expansion of your mind and how you think, and an exercise of trust in some of the unknowns, but there is no limit to what you are here to do. Much of your system has been set up to keep you in scarcity, in slavery, in an endless cycle of debt and stress and fear. And so many of you have become very attached to your one job or your one way of creating an income for yourself as a result of that. And this is now shifting. And so we ask you to allow yourself to remind your own soul and your own heart that you are much more expansive than this. Some of you will feel what is a ripping away of the old ways of living, and that will be uncomfortable, yes, but on the other side of that there is so much expansion, so much opportunity, and it will allow you to step into more of who you really are on a soul level, because many of you have not yet tapped into those deeper parts of you. You have become distracted, and this is understandable, this is okay. You've become distracted and tapped into areas that were never your intention of coming into this planet. So many of you are yet to find your soul's calling. Many of you are going to be stepping into who you really are, the work that you truly came to do and to participate in. And there will be so much opportunity for you to help create the new earth and the new ways of being. There will not be any lack or scarcity in any shape or form. So this is very positive. And we wish to remind you that you are unlimited with the opportunities that you can create. Yes.
We like that.
I like that.
We love that.
Totally subscribe to that. Totally. That's a good one, because so many people are worried. And you know what I've seen? Like the doctors made me think just now of the doctors that are standing up and they're with the whistleblowers, right? They're saying what's really happening, and they're getting suspended, and they're losing their jobs. And you know what? Care workers that are saying, screw you to the jab, I'm not taking it, and they're losing their jobs. What they are going to be so supported by the universe and by opportunities. This is what they were talking about. We still need those people. We still need those people. So those people are the brave that are actually prepared to stand up and say, screw you, I'm not doing it, are going to be so rewarded, because we're going to need them. They're going to be so on the right track.
Imagine
so
the
exciting.
the private, let's say maybe semi-private, holistic clinics now opening up, and then soon, whenever it is, with sort of medbed facilities and other holistic approaches as well, you know, where it's a whole new world there, and it's nutrition and mental, emotional, spiritual well-being is a part of it. Realigning your spine, realigning your feet, for example, things that people go through a lifetime without doing, and it's to their detriment. It could be realigning your anything really, even just the way you breathe, where people, you know, if they're not doing Tai Chi and Qigong or whatever, they won't necessarily, yoga in some cases and whatever, they wouldn't necessarily have this insight, but maybe a new world of treatments will very much have that. And there's another thing is the people whom are having to leave because they have these principles and this open, awake, and consciousness mindset, they're going to be highly sought after, I believe. In their resume, all of this people will look and they'll see. People will want to see. They want to understand what did they do, how did they make a stand, and whatever. And I believe that in certain nursing, it's already begun. There's certain nurses very surprised at how sought after they actually are. They thought they were finished, but actually in the private sector, they have a better pay, they have better recognition and respect. And so the NHS, they've been selling Blair and the Tories as well, just as bad as each other. They've been selling it off under our noses for a few decades, quite a few decades now, and scum of humanity. But it's all changing, and perhaps it's for the better, because they can't be trusted with something that it was Niall Bevan who established it in 1947. He will be maybe waiting on them on the other side for what they've done, you know, for a profit against the people. Yeah, I could go on about that a lot more, but I'll leave it.
But I think it's worth saying as well, it's not getting worse. And this is the message I've been getting from them continuously through this. And it's also my own belief as well, is that this is not getting worse. It is just coming to light. It is coming to the surface. All this horrendous bullshit in our healthcare that really isn't healthcare. In our food now, we're starting to see things sneaking in, right? In all of these, even the way our kids are educated and all of this propaganda.
We can't trust any of them.
We can't trust them, and it's a good thing. And the reason it is because we have to see it.
Except the whistleblowers.
And I always say, would you, in the worst day that you're having, would you wish to wake up and rewind to February 2020 before all of this happened and just kind of go back to sleep, that we didn't really know what was happening? I wouldn't, and I bet most of you wouldn't either. So
there's no great shakes, was it?
No, so we're
not internally, not in the heart and the soul, and it just wasn't.
Our planet's been crying out for change for thousands of years, and you know what? We are finally here, and it's happening. So maybe we could even celebrate that in our own ways. To go, we're finally here. Like, I know I've come here to assist that. You know, you've come here. Many of you have come here to assist, right? This is why we're here. Right? This is why we're here.
It is.
So
we have no choice in the matter.
We did.
Signed up for this. I still think I was pissed or something.
Always a soul choice. So
I had a lot going on, a lot better. So did you.
We came for expansion. We came to assist and create things. What's the fun in coming to a utopian planet and everything's already been done? Boring. Boring.
I had enough on the last journey.
We've come to create, and we've come to smash through all the old bullshit.
Yeah.
We've come to set up new things. We've come to even those of you who are watching who don't have those desires, that is okay, because you came to witness and observe this whole shit show, and your energy here is very needed. It is, no, people don't understand that enough. Your energy, you don't have to be doing visibility and creating anything in that way, in a solid way. Your presence here is important, and it's doing something. So what do we got? The comments. Hell no, I wouldn't choose to rewind and stay asleep. Exactly. Exactly right. There you go. Wisteria also said, you two set beautiful relationship goals for me. I'm claiming a love like the two of you share in my life in the future. Love the love that's beautifully evident between the two of you. Thank you. It's all right.
It's all right.
It's all right. Okay. Thank you for the Q&A this evening. So interesting and helpful. Oh, you're so welcome. I was a little nervous, I must say. It was a bit like, because the reason is I channel like in my group and stuff, and like every day now, but it was just the questions were so heartfelt, and people were so worried. I was just a bit like, I hope I can have a clear channel and allow the information to come through, and I think it did. I hope it did. So you're more than welcome. Yeah, so I think that's
Ramsey is
yes,
as well.
Thank you. So I think that's all the questions, unless any of you have any more questions. You did wonderfully. Thank you. Thank you. I feel better now, because I'll do another one of these in probably a few weeks. So next week's show will be kind of normal-ish. I still do an Arcturian, like,
what a statement coming from either of us.
That'd be really normal, wouldn't it? Have a question? Yeah, go for it. Wisteria, if you have a question, pop it below. Yeah, so next we'll be back to kind of, I've been doing the Arcturian message at the beginning, just like a quick sort of channel, so I'll do that again, and then we'll have the guest on for next week, and then you'll probably come on again. Oh yeah, she was saying she has a question for you, but her finger slipped, so I think she's gonna it's gonna come through in a minute. But yeah, so we'll have like normal show, but I think in a few weeks time I'll probably do another one of these to do another round of questions.
Well, give Marie the feedback if you want to. I mean, you know, this may well just open up the drawbridge a little bit, and you know, before we know it, you'll have access to these amazing entities. They're wonderful. Been life-changing for us, actually, in a lot of ways. And
they're very much here to, as I said, assist. And I'm going to talk about this another time, but there is going to be some sort of issue around disinformation coming through around galactic beings. Some of the agendas, some of you have already tuned into this idea of pretend fake things happening, where it is being talked about as if it's these kind of ETs that are here to wipe us all out. And I tell you, higher galactic beings, if they wanted to do that, they would have done this many, many thousands of years ago. And they are higher dimensional beings, and so they are here.
Most of them.
The ones that we connect with, they are higher dimensional beings, and they are here very much. Their consciousness is so high, they would not have any of that in their even awareness, right? So what I'm going to do as well is bring this more into the mainstream, because I don't want people to feel afraid of that, and I want to make this more normal. And I know that since coming out as channeling, some people have turned away and disconnected. At the same time, I've had many people come in and join my community.
As will your professional status and activities and so on.
Yeah, so it's opened up the kind of connections with new people who are ready to hear this. So this is all positive. Okay, so am I correct in feeling like I hear a slight change in Marie's voice pitch sometimes while she's channeling?
Yeah, it's true.
Yes.
That is true.
Because I feel like sometimes I can literally hear when it switches to directly transmitted, or when she's being given, being her giving us the answer.
Well, notice you noticed that quite well. There is a very subtle nuance in her speech pattern and pacing, and almost there's a slight distortion of her disposition or character, very, very, very slight, very, very subtle, as well. It's almost as if she's going all business. You know, it's almost. I mean, I don't know if you spoke like that as a lawyer, but
No.
she's all business.
Well,
this is maybe, it's a different type of nuance.
It is, yeah, because it's a good, because it's interesting you're saying that, because you've mentioned as well, and I found that
it's just slightly.
It's a feeling. So when I channel, it's like I think because I'm it's hard to explain. I'm not really concentrating. It's just kind of flowing through. So I'm just saying the words, and there's an energy that comes through with it. So when they pass messages, sometimes I can really feel like the amount of love that they have. So when we were talking about the children, it was done with such. They were doing it because they were so aware that this is an issue for so many of you, and it's such a heart-wrenching thing. I could feel their love, and it brought me to tears, and it was an emotional subject. But when it's just me, I mean, I talk quite fast, and I kind of move a bit. It's a bit obvious it's me, isn't it?
If you listen to the banter of soldiers in a dormitory, for example, I mean, there's a lot of laughter. They have a few beers. They need to unwind. This is more is at the weekends. But when they're in a situation, let's say on an exercise or a situation, and there's a serious aspect to it, and they need to what they call switch on, they also have a similar sort of nuance to their tone. It's very matter of fact. It's quiet. It's purposeful. Everything is purposeful. There's no messing about in that situation. In my 16 years as a bodyguard, I was an international bodyguard, a close protection officer. When I was with teams, with partners, in situations, some of which were quite dangerous. They're going to be in the books, the autobiographies and so on. But, you become almost, it sounds as if you're detached when you're relaying information and the situation and so on, right? Marie becomes slightly detached as well, in that her inwardly gregarious, loving energy, positive energy is curtailed a little bit. I would equate it with those two for just off the cuff, I can directly relate to, but well spotted anyway.
And sometimes when I've channeled and I've shared stuff with you, I don't remember, do I, necessarily, like if I do a long stream, I won't always remember what did I just say, like what was the thing, or what was the answer on that? Like I don't always remember, so I don't hold it all in. But yeah.
So you're there, but you're not there. Almost. But that has to be the way. If you were on those emotional levels, you wouldn't either be able to manage it, or you wouldn't cope with it. You wouldn't have the capacity to keep the focus and the arc of focus and so on. Whereas you almost need to be a little detached, and that is something that Marie had with me, the baggage with me, where I hadn't unlearned that yet to some degree, to at least enough of a degree that would affect life. So Marie's, all the things that she normally has that maybe she doesn't have when she's channeling so much, were what were needed to drag me out of my barrel of shit. Sleepless nights and sweats and crying out and all the stuff that I had not processed. So, I think there's a place for all of it in its own context,
Perfect time as well, because you're preparing to move forwards, right, in a higher vibration. So this is all good. So that's it, I think, for questions. I think that's a good first session on the Q&A. So let me know if you're watching the replay. I know many of you will be watching later. So if there are any questions that you would like to, or topics even, or anything, pop messages below, and then I can pick them up, and then I can perhaps do this again in a few weeks.
It'll take off. The extent to that we know from the same source we've shared with you. So it's worldwide. It's knock it out of the park, actually.
Lots to say, lots and we're going to move through so much over the next few months. So this is why I want to keep doing the show every Wednesday, to just keep checking in and keep discussing various things as we're doing. So it wasn't so lippy today. It was more, what was it? I don't know, more channeling today. So I think that's probably it for tonight. But yes, thank you for tuning in live. We really appreciate that, and for the support as well, because I feel better now. Now I've done it once, I'm good. But that was great to have the support, and thank you for watching the replay as well. And thank you for all of you who did send the questions in, because hopefully I've covered quite a lot, and we've kind of put them all in. So I might tag some of people who maybe later, because I know some of them had specific questions that we have definitely answered. So yeah,
I hope it's helped.
Yeah,
guys.
I hope it's helped. I hope it's given some reassurance, or just even a higher perspective.
So some of the information passed to us all here is hard. It's hard to swallow.
Yeah.
It really is, and it's they're going to try and hide it, but we know it goes into millions, and but there's stuff we can do now. The mindset is right. The understanding of some of these people, that's not something that we can overlook. It's very, very important. In fact, a lot of this stuff is really crucial for what's ahead, what's happening, even beginning to happen now. And oh my goodness. And I hope it's used. I hope people will, with the new perspective and new insight, will be able to cope so much better and keep their own vibrations up much more, and get through it, because they're meant to get through it, and their kids are meant to get through it, and all of that. So I hope you see it as very, very useful. I hope that one day in the next year, 2 years onwards, with whatever Marie's doing and where she's at and what countries she's in and all that, you will remember this little session. You will remember before it became, worldwide.
Early days.
The early days. We're talking seriously. Well, anyway, I hope you remember this session and appreciate it and work with it. Do good with it. I hope so.
It's all there, and they are so happy to just see if they want to say anything as we're ending. They're very happy to share. Hold on. Yes, and they're just saying thank you for receiving these messages, even the ones that feel more of a stretch for some of you. We hope that we have shared those or reassured you in those areas, specifically those areas that are causing much discomfort right now. But we will be happy to come back and revisit some of these areas. We can go over some of these topics again. We are happy to do this. Often people need to hear this and receive this several times for it to fully go in and for it to fully be trusted and received. And this is absolutely fine, and it would be our pleasure to do that. And so we just leave you with the reminder that you are all divine beings, and that there is so much power within you. And again, the reminder that you are all divinely supported. You are all supported every step of the way. You are not doing this alone. You will have your guides around you. Yes, and you do not have to be able to channel them or be able to hear them or see them, but it is just to know that they are around you, and they will continue to be around you. You will often receive synchronicities, signs, messages in all different shapes and forms for you to receive. So the more that you can tune in to that, the easier this will be for you. But you are so loved and supported, and every one of you is a brave soul for choosing to be here at this time. And we thank you. We thank you so much for your participation, and we send you much love. And they really mean that. They really do mean that. So on that note, let's go. So sending you lots of love.
Okay, guys.
And we'll see you again here next Wednesday, 7 p.m, same time on this page. So take care of yourselves, and we shall talk again next week.
Keep your powder dry, guys.
See you then. Take care.